Living in the lap of the Eastern Ghats, the Kutia Kandha are identified as one of the 13 particularly vulnerable tribal groups in Odisha. They form a part of the larger Kandha community that is settled across the Raigada, Kandhamal, Kalahandi and Koraput districts of Odisha. The Kutia Kandha speak the Kui language. The community resides in the southern part of Kandhamal and parts of Kalahandi districts of Odisha. Their villages are usually located either on the hillside or in the valleys close to a river or stream. The Kutia Kandha continue to practice shifting cultivation, clearing the hillside to plant ragi, small millets and oil seeds. Apart from land for cultivation, the dense forests of Kandhamal and its hill ranges provide the Kutia Kandha with a bounty of mushrooms, roots, tubers and fruits that are collected along with honey, gum and lac. The forests are also the source of plants and minerals of medicinal value. The Kutia Kandhas utilize them in the practice of a unique system of ethno-medicine. This system is based on the Kutia Kandha belief that human life is linked to the environment and the supernatural. Disease is believed to affect both the body and the soul. The Kutia Kandha thus see illness as a disturbance in a person's life force due to the influence of supernatural powers.
In a tribal society in general, and Kutia Kandha in particular, the concept of disease is not merely a biological manifestation. It is also because of the involvement or interference of supernatural forces. Therefore, any treatment of such disease or ailment by a Kutia Kandha takes into account both the physical dimension as well as the supernatural agency. So, in a culturally embedded society like the Kutia Kandhas, who live in the Kandhamal district and particularly in the Belghar area, the medicine man takes the help of not only the plants and minerals, but also resorts to some rituals for the appeasement of the supernatural forces.
Combining the use of medicinal plants, spirituality and natural environment, the Kutia Kandha medicinal practices have been used by the community for millennia. Through it, simple cures for common diseases as well as complex illnesses are diagnosed and treated. These ethno-medicinal practices demonstrate the deep link between the Kutia Kandha and the forest ecosystem. The traditional healers among the Kutia Kandha are referred to as the Jani and Kuttaka. Each has a unique role to play in the Kutia Kandha system of healing.
The Jani, to a certain extent, for many natural diseases, the Jani knows what to prescribe, how to prescribe. Often it is culturally attuned. The Jani may prescribe a sacrifice of small things of that sort. The Kuttaka is at a higher level of specialization. He is considered a divine healer. He is considered an astrologer. He can perform worships, can execute sacrifices, as well can administer medicine, and can also forecast about the community, say agriculture, whatever. So, on that account, Kuttaka is at a higher level of specialization. Is considered a person directed by the divine to serve the society.
The Jani and Kuttaka thus carry the responsibility of maintaining the health of the community. Each healer is said to have received divine inspiration for taking up this responsibility.
ସେଇଟା ପ୍ରଭୁଙ୍କର ରାତିରେ ସ୍ୱପ୍ନ ଦିଏ ସେଇ ଜାଗାରେ ସେଇ ଔଷଧ ଅଛି सेही पहाड़ रे अछि देखंतु हमरो निहामगिरी पहाड़ हो बा बामनी डंगर हो बा छथरगुड़ी हो बा डिम्बुल पहाड़ हो कि आमरो अछि ढुरसी बिलामाल पाखरे सेही पहाड़ बड़ बड़ पहाड़ रे अच्छी बोलिक आमको स्वप्न देले आमे जाइकी ताको कहबू सेटा आम गले जाई जानिबू बासनाटा किंती आसुची से बासना द्वारा आमे खोजिबू ए पाखरे से जिनसटा अछि
Kutia Kandha healers often worship and cultivate several plant species. They also collect other ingredients from the forests depending on the medicines they are preparing. In the Kutia Kandha system of healing, two types of diseases are said to exist, the natural and the supernatural. Natural diseases are believed to be caused by contact with another sick individual, poor sanitation, excessive hard work, climatic change, and mental stress or worries.
Iragasa nagasina nonde nagasina nomor pisile dugas pisile iragasa nagasina tuana nagasina mai milamia mai dalemia na penu milamia maju milamia noro milamia timba milamia na keri milamia danda milamia na iragasa sina pelausa gasina beso gasina irapa meka eko dui.
While natural diseases are simple to cure, supernatural diseases are those of a severe nature. Evil spirits or malevolent deities are considered to be responsible for these diseases.
कहीं आम परंपरा रो जानी अछि पुजारी अन्य काम करि थांती लोक जाको आमे जदि करिबु नाही ताहेले सेही माने असुविधा रे पड़ी जिवे से बोलानी हो बा ठाकुरानी पूजा हो आमे बोली दले आका से माने गाहां रे शांति रहइबो धरणी पेनु शांति रहइबो आम ठारे जदि से खाइबो नाही बोले से शांति रहइबो नाही गां सारा लोक जरो बेंबार हेकी पड़ी जिवे
So kind of things which they cannot generalize at their own level, they refer it to the unseen power. So where the understanding goes to the unseen power, they are categorized as supernatural. For example, let's say epilepsy. It could be because of some other things which the medical practitioners can better explain, but the Kutia Kandha consider it supernatural.
Thus, one finds that the medicinal practices of the Kutia Kandha are intrinsically connected to the community's socio-cultural systems and religious practices. Dharini, the earth goddess, is worshipped by the Kutia Kandha, and offerings in the form of blood sacrifice are made to appease her. In addition, the goddess is appealed to for the cure of measles, chickenpox, and other such diseases. Other deities are propitiated to cure ailments related to jealousy, fertility, or severe illness. In the process of curing a patient, the healer will engage in conversation with the spirits and deities of the Kutia Kandha. Often this is done with the help of winnowing fan full of rice.
मो किंतु जे बाई गोटे डाकी आइथिला बुढ़ी माँ जेतेबेले तांकर गोटे टीवी लागी तिबारु माने ओ ओ ओची नहीं जे टीवी भाई मते डाकिया पाए अरे मेना भाई मोर भाई गोटे तू तुमे आसिले जाई भलो होइबो बोली से लोकटा डाकी आइबा पाए मु मोर मामू गाँ रे मु निज एटा गोटे मोर निज गाँ हुए.
Entering into a trance-like state, the Kuttaka rubs the rice over the fan, invoking the gods and spirits. In doing so, he is able to ascertain the identity of the malicious spirit responsible for a patient's suffering. He then prescribes the rituals that must be observed to effect a cure and prepares the herbal medicines that may be required. Often these rituals include a sacrificial offering. The Kutia Kandha believe the family to be sick if one of its members suffers. and the entire village to be afflicted if a family is ill. Invoking the gods is thus essential to the healing practices of the Kutia Kandha.
कौन ज्वर बेमार हेले मध्य आग भल हुए परे कुकुड़ा माकड़ा छेली सब पूजा पर दिया जीव आग जे पूजा करछंती से माने खाली मांस खाइबा पाए से पूजा करछंती आमे निश्चित नहीं मालूम.
The treatments prescribed may vary depending on the severity of the ailment and how the patient responds to the care and medicines recommended to him or her. Also, among the healers, not everyone treats every type of disease. Many healers specialize in curing particular ailments only. The position of the tribal healers as important functionaries within the village community points to the continued belief of the Kutia Kandha in their traditional way of life. The community holds faith in the traditional healing practices for several reasons.
रोग है कौन कर से आमर से डॉक्टर हिसाब रे आमे से कुटा का व्यवहार करूछम कुटा कि सब किछि हम गां पाए अटा राति रे ज्वर हेले कि कोन हेले ताकू डाकी कि आमे देखा दुई करूछु से कोन कहबो से अनुसार हम व्यवस्था करूछु. गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल जाउछु हम एटा माने साफो कामड़ी थिबो साकू मेडिकल नेला दूर थिबो से आमे जाई पारबा नोटा सेति पय विष को भी काढबा पय चेरमूली माध्यम रे काढी होउछ किछि प्रॉब्लम नै. कुटा को आमे जेते बेले कोन ज्वर बेमार हेले कुटा को आनी जाउ सेठी किछि देउना आमे खुशी रे आमे चावल कि धान जहा भी चार देउछ से टंका पैसा किछि देउनु.
The Kutia Kandha, in particular the younger generation, continues to place its faith in the ethno-medicinal practices of the community.
तापर केते एमते करी केते माने भलो नथिला मेडिकल जाय हेले भी सेटा जणी सुरबाटा भलो हि पार नथिला जण को पागु चेरमुल के दुची ता पागु गोली तापर से औषध खुजाखुजी करी से देला तापर कंचाटा पूरा चेरमुल आनी करी बाटाबुटी कर देली पूरा सेटा गुळै करी सेटा पीली रिजल्ट पूरा क्लियर लागला पूरा से दिनट भलो अछि.
An important outcome of this is that the knowledge of the healers regarding the forests, its herbs and medicinal plants continues to survive and find relevance.
এই ঔষধ কাম କରୁଛି ଯେ ଡାହାଣୀ ପ୍ରେତ ଭୂତ ଯେଉଁ ଲାଗିଥାଏ ଏ ଔଷଧ ଡଙ୍ଗରିଆ କରିକି ଯଦି ପିନ୍ଧିଲେ ଆଉ କାଟିକି ମଧ୍ୟ ଏଠି କାଟିକି ଦେଇକି ମଧ୍ୟ ଡେଣାରେ ପିନ୍ଧିଲେ से छोट छोट छुआ माने होंतु बा बड़ छुआ होंतु से माने टिके भलो होछंती ए मेडिसिन द्वारा. एई औषध होउची दांत पुक खाई थाए ताकू भाव माप देईकी ए औषध देउंते तापरे जहार दादू आ कोन हेई थाए से जदी हबो सेटा बाटी की पानी सहित मिक्स करिकी मिक्स करिकी सेटा बाटी देकी से रोगरे सेटा लगेले से आपे जली की तार जीवाणु जेतकी अछि से जीवाणु मधे ये तार विषाक्त होउची यार ना होउची कला सीता पारु. ए औषध मधे लोक व्यवहार करंती बाघ जिंती चिट्टा बाघ बलिया देह सारा जदी हुए तापरे कुष्ठ रोग जो हुए ए औषध भी व्यवहार करछंते एटा मधे पानी रे बाटी की राति रे लगे की सुहिले सखाळू आउ सेई माने भलो हबो जिंती देह को सिंती सबु होउची. एइटा होउची लुद्री बोली कहंते हमर कुई भाषा रे कहंते रोगा मारा रो एइटा सबु ठारे मिलेनी पहाड़ बड़ बड़ पहाड़ जोटी देवी देवता करो जागा रे ए औषध ता रहउची. ए औषधर ना होउची सेटा गंगी पेनु बोली के कहिबे अन्य जगार अगा बगारे रुहे ना एटा आमे कौन सी कुकुड़ा हो बा घुसरी हो कौन सी जिनस मधे एटा आमे व्यवहार करछु पूजा देकी बलि देकी रक्तदान बलि देले आका ए औषध ठारे व्यवहार करछंती. ज्वर जदि छोटो छुआ को जदि ज्वर भीषण हो गला ताहेले एटा मधे बाटी देकी एटा मधे देहरे टिके मुंडरे टिके लगेई देबे मुंडरे एटा पानी सहित मुंडरे लगेई देबे तापरे आउ थरे एटा मधे पीबा पई दिया होबो नाही आउ जदि पीबा पई हेले विषाक्त ही जीवो जण आत्मा भितरे पेट कोन कोन छिड़ी जीवो ଫୁଟା ଗୁଡ଼ାକ ସେଥିପାଇଁ ସେ ବାଟିବାର ନାହିଁ। ତାପରେ ଆମେ ବୁଲୁଛୁ, ବୁଲିଲା ବେଳକୁ ପାରଦି ବୋଲିକି ଆମେ ଶିକାର ଯିବୁ ରାତିରେ ସବୁ ଲୋକ, ସେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ଚାହୁଁଛୁ ଯେ ଅମକ ଜିନିଷ ଅମକଠାରେ ଥିଲା। ସେ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ମୁଁ ଦେଖେଇ ପାରିନି, ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ ତା ହାଡ଼ ଭାଙ୍ଗିଗଲା, ହାଡ଼ ଜଣ୍ଟେଇବାଟା ସେଇଟା ବହୁତ ଦୂରରେ ଅଛି। ହାଡ଼ ଶିଖିଲି ବୋଲିକି ସେଇଟା କୁହନ୍ତି ସେ ପଥରରେ ଥାଏ। ଆପଣ ସେ ଔଷଧଟା ଆଣିବେ, ଆପଣ 2 ସପ୍ତାହ ପରେ ଯିବେ ସେଇଟା ଜଣ୍ଟେଇଥିବ।
While the healers try their best to alleviate the suffering of those under their care, sometimes the treatment comes too late and the disease is no longer curable. The Kutia Kandha believe that if an illness is not curable, then this too is because of the supernatural. In the end, death is inevitable.
ଆମେ କହିବୁ ଗୁରୁମାନେ କହିବ ନାଇଁ ରେ ବାବୁ ଆମ ଠାରୁ କାଟିଲା ନାହିଁ, ତୁମେ ସେ ଡକ୍ଟର ଖାନାରେ ଟିକେ ନିଅ।
Nonetheless, the continued faith of the community in its traditional practices provides opportunities to further study both their ethno-medicinal practices as well as their spiritual belief system. The knowledge of medicinal plants possessed by the Kutia Kandha healers has great potential towards development of new treatments for a variety of diseases. Ethnobotany, or the harnessing of plant products for human welfare, provides direction to this effort. Understanding the relationship that communities like the Kutia Kandha share with their environment is the first step. The second is the documentation of ethnobotanical practice employed in the preparation of traditional medicines. This documentation requires collaboration with local healers and an observation of how plants are collected and processed. This is important because season for harvesting, age of plant, and climatic conditions such as recent rainfall all impact medicinal potency. The traditional understanding of nature is vital to the abilities of traditional healers. There is much that we must learn from this age-old wisdom of the Kutia Kandha. We have only begun to scratch the surface and uncover the intuitive connections between belief and practical experience that the traditional healers draw upon in administering cures. Further documentation of the community's medicinal practices will help ensure that this knowledge is not lost. It will also provide a scientific basis to counter exploitative biopiracy and patent claims, thereby safeguarding the medicinal practices and natural remedies used by the Kutia Kandha. One can only hope that the ethno-medicinal practices of the community continue to remain relevant, and through further research, they may yield new medicines and cures that will benefit mankind.